Welcome to today's edition of USEA's Global Briefing. I'm glad to be joined by Lithuanian Minister of Energy, Žygimantas and Ambassador Gediminas Varvuolis, as well as a local nuclear operator, Linas Baužys. How are you? Thank you for joining us today for this episode. The first question is directed towards the ambassador, touching on the U.S.-Lithuania relationship. The U.S. never recognized the Soviet annexation of Lithuania. How has the century-long history of diplomatic consistency served as the bedrock for the modern security partnership we see today?
Indeed, we are very proud about this U.S. policy of non-recognition of our occupation, which really served for us as a beacon during all those decades when Lithuania was, non-existent on the global map. And throughout those decades, the U.S. Embassy, where I'm working on a daily basis here in the United States, Lithuanian Embassy here in D.C. has always functioned as a Lithuanian embassy. So our flag has always was, flying proudly at the embassy, which really showed that Lithuania was not forgotten, and that eventually we will become independent again. And I think this also serves as a great lesson for what's going on nowadays in the world. We are talking about a possible, peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. And of course, the U.S. government is trying to mediate and to achieve this. And of course, there might be de facto situations where Ukraine will not get all its territories that it constitutionally has. But with this policy of non-recognition, actually, I think the hope will still be around for Ukraine currently to eventually prevail and to restore the sovereignty of its entire territory. So this policy that was of the U.S. government that was launched after the Second World War of the Soviet non-recognition serves as a great precedent for decades and for other circumstances.
And you said for decades, Lithuania was a security consumer within NATO. Recently, with defense spending projected to hit over 5% GDP by 2026, how has Lithuania transitioned into a security provider that the U.S. now looks to for regional leadership?
So Lithuania already a year ago, last January, as a matter of fact, officially declared that it's going to increase its defense spending above 5%. And now I think as of January 1st of this year, we are the biggest spender on defense in the alliance. We spend 5.38% of our entire GDP for defense, which is, of course, a big commitment. But I think we understood the equation that if we wanted others to come to our defense in case there would be a need, we have to contribute ourselves. And that's what we are doing exactly. We are very proud to host U.S. troops in Lithuania. We have a heavy armor battalion of U.S. Army located in Lithuania. And we are actually, we have offered the U.S. government the most generous host nation support package to host those troops. So we are covering virtually, all of their expenses, because exactly we understand that it matters that those troops are there. It's important for us that we are not seen as a burden for U.S. government and for those troops, and by contributing and covering their expenses, we are basically participating in it. But also we are developing our armed forces. So we are buying a lot of we are making a lot of acquisitions of equipment and armament from the United States as well. Up to 20% of our acquisitions, they come from the United States. So there is a very strong partnership that has developed over decades within NATO, also with the U.S. government in the security realm.
Yes, and beyond military ties, Lithuania has become a sanctuary for democratic opposition from Belarus and Russia. From a U.S. foreign policy perspective, how does supporting Lithuania's democratic stance align with broader transatlantic goals?
Yeah, democracy has become part of our DNA in Lithuania. We really think that this is the best way how the societies should be organized. We are kind of we have very strong feelings as far as the democratic way of life is concerned. We fought for democracy, and we cherish democracy, and therefore we want also others to succeed in this. And by the way, of course, we are very keen about supporting the democratic opposition in Belarus and in other countries that are still, unfortunately, are under authoritarian regime. But not only in our region, we are very keen also to work with the U.S. government on sharing the best practices how democracy can brought about in places like Cuba, for example, which also to us reminds very much of what's going on next our border, across our border in Belarus, for example. So it's a universal value, and we really want it to prevail, and we will do our best to contribute to this.
Great. And our next questions are more on energy. So if the minister or Linas, if you want to join in 2014, Lithuania launched the Independence LNG terminal. How did the U.S. technical assistance and U.S. LNG shipments essentially break the Gazprom monopoly in the Baltic?
So in 2014, we have started the import of LNG, and now this terminal is functioning very successfully. The utilization rate is one of the best within the EU. What is very important that at that time, in 2010, it has been initiated and has been supported by the US. And at that time, the main studies, feasibility studies, has been made in that framework. That has been a very important point because everything started from that point. And even the location for the LNG terminal was the help and was the result of the US financial support for the studies for the analysis. So we are very thankful for that support, and this has been the start of our LNG cooperation. And now, of course, we are moving forward to the next cooperation possibilities. Last year, 2025, Lithuania imported more than 70% of US LNG. So that really proves the success of our cooperation.
Great. And in February 2025, just last year, the Baltic states successfully desynchronized from the Russian-controlled Brel power grid. What role did U.S. national labs and technical experts play in ensuring this high-stakes electrical divorce went smoothly?
Well, that's another cooperation angle, and all the time in this pathway to our independence, which has been not an easy one, because the Baltic State Synchronization Project has been implemented for almost 20 years. So as you have said, last year, 2025, we successfully connected to the continental European networks together with Latvia and Estonia to Poland. And in that, at that times, even 2019 and before, it has been also some framing of the studies concerning the dynamic aspects of our frequencies. So this has been one element. Another element has been the constant support from US national laboratories on cybersecurity measures. We had really extensive cooperation with our TSO, Litgrid. So these exercises have been frequently done, which has helped for us to implement this project successfully. So we really appreciate the support, and we are glad to see that after 65 years of dependence on Russian and Belarusian networks, now we are completely independent. We are the part of the European family working on the same frequency, and this is really important that the key grounds has been delivered also by the US national laboratories.
Great. And we often hear about the 3+1 format, the three Baltics and the US. What specific regional threats, such as physical security of undersea cables, are currently dominating these high-level discussions?
Yeah, 3+1 format is very important for us, for our region, and within the cooperation to the United States. It has been one of the frameworks in the PTEC format, and we are glad to continue this cooperation, three Baltic states and together with the United States. And one of the further cooperation possibilities for us is the protection of the critical energy infrastructure. The Baltic states, together with Poland, of course, now are the leaders within the EU on this resilience program. So we are really looking forward that this dimension is really very important for the future, and we are looking forward for the state-of-the-art technologies to protect our critical energy infrastructure, be it physical protection, be it cybersecurity measures, or the anti-drone protection measures. And it could be one of the additions to our really nice and beautiful cooperation in the LNG sector.
Great. And Lithuania recently hosted the 3S1 Summit in 2024. How is U.S. support through the International Development Finance Corporation helping build the north-south infrastructure corridor needed to bypass Russian influence?
Actually, this is another element of our cooperation, and here we are now to deliver the concept of the amber gas corridor, which is a good addition to the vertical gas corridor, as we have all the necessary infrastructure and the capacities to transport LNG through Lithuania and Poland to Ukraine and the rest Central and Eastern Europe. So this has been really a very productive cooperation on that side. And this is very right and good timing because in the Lithuanian LNG terminal, we are now next month starting the capacity allocation from 2033 for the next 12 years. So this is a best moment also to increase and to ensure this cooperation between Lithuania and the United States.
Great. And our next question is focused on Lithuania is now looking at small modular reactors and an increase in nuclear. How could U.S. nuclear technology companies transform Lithuania into a clean energy exporter for the rest of Europe?
Yeah, almost 2 decades as Lithuania stopped to produce electricity in our nuclear power plant, which was produced in the Soviet Union type reactors. Now we are looking for possibility to use the, for instance, RWVX 300, and after tomorrow we'll sign the agreement with the General Electric Nova regarding the small reactors with the possibility to use. And of course, we now like a company now on the nuclear transformation to not use the old one. First of all, our focus on the decommissioning, and of course to reduce amount of waste of radioactive, and then to look how we can transform to use more clean renewables, like nuclear in Lithuania in the future, to to start to work together with the other type like wind, solar, etc., to be like a part of all Lithuanian network, all the grid.
Great. And Lithuania has been using its gas infrastructure to help supply Ukraine. How does the U.S.-Lithuania partnership serve as a logistical lifeline for Ukraine's energy survival during the ongoing conflict, and like not just for natural gas, but also like maybe like nuclear, other sources of energy?
For instance, like spare parts or some parts which is not necessary in our now to operate our nuclear power plants, but still it's needed. There maybe the same like generators, other equipment we sent to Ukraine to help, and which is still working, and they can use to supply the heating, to supply electricity for the for the families, for houses, etc.
Great. And Lithuania aims to be 100% climate neutral by 2050. Considering the heavy presence of U.S. solar and wind technology in the region, is the U.S.-Lithuania relationship shifting from security-based to innovation-based?
Yes, absolutely. That's the case, but because we are transforming our energy sector, and one of the key factors is, of course, that for the renewables we need a balancing source. So the storage capacities is one of the areas where Lithuania is moving very fast. We are the leaders within the region, So it could be one of the cooperation areas. Another fact is, of course, as colleague mentioned just recently, this is the SMRs, which is also about the innovations and about the production of electricity. And the last but not the least, of course, is there are other areas like we're looking forward to ensure the possibilities for the data centers to connect to our electricity grids. So that's why we are creating the one of the most competitive environments for the connection and to have a fast track connectivity. So this is also one of the areas for our further cooperation.
Great, Willem. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us and providing your critical insight on the U.S. Lithuania friendship and ongoing energy opportunities for collaboration. Thank you all for listening in, and go to usea.org to learn more about our work.